The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Tracy Fitzpatrick, and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. And we are very excited to host today's event, Mastering the Future, AI Skills and Certifications to Thrive in 2025 and Beyond. And we're joined by two AI experts, our subject matter expert, Dwayne Natwick, and our guest speaker, Wade Younger. Dwayne is a visionary leader and trainer specializing in AI skilling and workforce development. With extensive experience in designing and delivering AI training programs, he empowers businesses and professionals to understand, adopt, and integrate AI technologies effectively. Dwayne excels at hands-on training, bridging skill gaps, and equipping teams with practical AI knowledge to drive innovation, streamline processes, and stay competitive in an AI-driven world. And joining him is our featured guest, Wade Younger. Wade is the CEO of the Value Wave and a globally recognized AI strategist. He's a certified PMP and CSM, as well as a guest lecturer at Cornell University. Wade has helped organizations worldwide harness the power of AI to drive innovation and efficiency. With over 2,000 keynotes delivered globally, he specializes in breaking down complex AI concepts into actionable strategies, enabling leaders to make informed decisions in this fast-paced tech era. Our speakers today are here to share and discuss some incredible insights into the future of AI, what advancements we can expect this year and beyond, the trends that will impact on our everyday businesses and workplaces, and how our teams can harness these developments to their advantage. From leveraging upskilling opportunities to gaining a competitive edge, they're going to cover it all. These experts bring a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so excited to hear the valuable insights and important takeaways they'll be sharing during this discussion. Now, let me just give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started. To begin with, you do have the option to view it in full screen by clicking on the full screen button on the right side of the GoToWebinar viewer. Simply hit the escape key to exit the full screen. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters. And if you do have questions at any point during the discussion, please feel free to drop them in the questions panel, and I'll make sure to address them right away. So don't hesitate, because your curiosity could spark the next big insight. And to get the best of today's event, we've included a resource deck in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer. You may refer to them for relevant and informative resources such as our blogs, ebooks, and courses that will help you explore the AI trends and expand your knowledge on the topics that will be discussed today. And we do realize that many of you may have to leave early, and do want to let you know before you do leave the session today that we will be presenting you with a short survey. We'd like to request that you take a moment to participate in the survey. Your feedback really helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions. The survey answers are measured on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 representing outstanding and 1 representing poor. And now we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. I'm going to pass it over to our experts. Thank you so much, Dwayne and Wade, for joining us here today. I'm passing the screen over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Welcome, Wade. Great to do this this Q&A session with you. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Dwayne. I'm looking forward to it as well. Doing well. Hope you are.
Yeah. Yes, we could kick things off here. I know we had some questions prior to jumping on, but as Tracy was saying, if you do have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section, and then we can answer any of your your questions. But one question to kind of ask you from your standpoint, Wade, and your perspective, what's a key action? What's one key action you would think that leaders can take to future-proof their businesses with AI?
Gotcha. So first off, when I think about AI, we focus in on the technology first. But one of the things that I recognize in working with organizations and leadership, it's a matter of having a clear vision, good integrity, great communication skills, and then compassion. Because we're in this flux where it creates a lot of uncertainty. So being compassionate in regards to communication and being clear is key. And then once we establish that, execution can happen and you can create better awareness. There's knowledge share there, and then you can work on the abilities as far as moving forward. So as far as the leadership is concerned, those are the big things to start with. Another thing that's off the bat, when you just think about AI, it's the ultimate in digital transformation and also the science of change. And when it comes to change, it's about, do you need help or do you need time? And leaders have to do a great job in regards to connecting with people, because that's one of the things that people are concerned with, and that is AI going to take my job? Are we going to lose human connection? So creating unity is important. So I think you should start with that, and then everything else can follow suit.
No, that's a great point. As I'm doing AI trainings and things like that, and talking about AI to people, that's always the first thing that says, is AI going to take my job? And really the key aspect to any technology trend, any technology advancement is how willing are you to adopt and adapt and evolve to that technology? Being in Michigan, I use a lot of, when I'm training, I use a lot of automotive analogies, and one of the big things is whether we're going to continue to evolve and bring more electric vehicles out there, and how is that going to affect the automotive industry if we're not making gas powered vehicles anymore? Well, you're still making vehicles, you're still creating, the amount of automobiles that are going to be out on the road is not going to decrease. It's only going to continue to increase, and therefore, if you aren't willing to learn how to assemble an electric vehicle, you're like, oh no, I only want to work on gas powered vehicles, then yes, you are going to be out of a job. And it's the same thing with AI. If you learn how to use it effectively and efficiently, and we'll talk more as well in terms of ethically and responsibly, then you will continue to have a job, and you'll be able to provide more value to your organization rather than less, and things of that nature. So yeah, those are very, I think, very key points to future-proofing yourself, as well as future-proofing the business altogether. It's always obviously what's in it for me, what's in it for the organization, right?
Absolutely. And here's the thing: we've been here before, because obviously we had a technology before the car, horse and buggy, and so it was the evolution there. You think about the time when the sewing machine was invented. Seamstress were really concerned, will we lose our jobs? And the answer was, just learn how to use the sewing machine and you can stay in business. Funny story about the Luddite movement back in the 1800s, because people are people. In the 1800s, they used to smash the sewing mechanisms because they were just afraid to lose their jobs, when the answer was lean in and learn. So same thing here, lean in and learn. And I think another thing when it comes to leadership, Dwayne, is people are really afraid innately to lose human connection, because AI is not human connection. But the reality is, if we are purporting this connection in regards to communications and vision, and purporting what we're going to do as far as moving forward, that helps that. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention there. And just a small case study in regards to leadership. You have just a plethora of companies using AI in various different ways. Uber's a good example of that, to where they were so AI and technology wise, as far as they're going to be monitored this way and that way. They allow users, if they have a question, or drivers, to actually just call in and talk to a person, so they don't feel like they're just so, isolated from human connection. So that's a key point there. So I like your point.
Yeah, and that's nothing new, right? I don't know how many arguments I've had with automated attendants that are using AI, using those tools to, for voice prompts, and you can't get to a person. Those become, those customer service engagements become very important. And kind of the next question, next kind of thing around that, and kind of go around, that personal aspect and that customer touch and that customer enablement aspect, around, obviously you can't go to a website without some sort of chat bot or something like that. And now we're, everybody is, we're starting to lean in with the generative AI aspect of the AI agents, and how those can be used for improving customer engagements, right? You look at the Salesforce commercials with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson now. They're leading the way in AI all of a sudden. Didn't expect those two to be the drivers of AI agents and customer service engagements. But I've heard a lot of people. We've talked. I've talked to developers and infrastructure people, and heard different perspectives around, even like Satya Nadella from Microsoft has made statements like SaaS, software as a service, is dead, right? Because of AI agents. What are some of your thoughts around how businesses can use and gather engaging, continue to kind of maintain some level of that human touch, but also utilize AI and how that's going to evolve in the coming years to kind of keep that human factor, even though we're using machine learning?
Gotcha. So the age of agentic AI, we have Gen AI, now we're talking about agentic AI, is here. And that's the ability to perform tasks that we're doing before. And it's multimodality, where it's not just about typing or speaking or drawing. It's going to just do it all. That line has blended into gray to nothing. So understand that when it comes to AI and agentic AI, we do now have the ability to do everything that we're doing. Even this conversation right here, we have an application to read text, and it performs a panel discussion as if it was a podcast, but nobody's here. So it's all there. So we know, what do we do about that? That's another technology that we'll lean into. So we rethink and reimagine. Instead of being the creator of spreadsheets, we manage spreadsheets. Instead of being a creator of documentation, user manuals, we manage those. We give instructions on what needs to take place. And that's where the real intellect comes in anyway. When it comes to, writing, we'll use that for an example. There's always been an author, and then editing, and then producing it, whether it was pen, typewriter, a word processor, talk to text. There's always this author. We as humans will always be that. So in regards to chatbots, yes, that gives us an opportunity from a multimodality perspective to speak to and customize in a way that everybody is getting what they needed, specifically to their needs. Now, we've been talking about customization for a very long time. I go back to, the candy M&Ms, and how, it's just the M&M. And then they said, we have a great idea. Let's put logos on that, or I love you, or little messages on the M&M. That's customization. You think about Build-A-Bear, right? You can go in and, customize what kind you want, the clothing, customization. So as humans, we've always been fascinated with customizing. You think about even, magazines that are regional, where the covers are different based on the region you live in, content is the same. But we just want to connect in, this is my idea, this represents us. The same thing with chatbots. They're helping us to customize based on our individual needs. Now, because of technology, cloud computing, and hardware, software, we have this ability to customize to where there's preferences to each and every customer. We're doing it now with Netflix. You turn on your TV and it's like, well, these are the movies we're representing or recommending based on your, viewing habits. The exact same thing is true here. Chatbots will answer your questions based on anticipation, based on past behaviors, and we can lean into that. Now, the creation of chatbots, we've been doing it for so long, those are just another flavor of data, modeling, and the output. Another thing when we think about chatbots, just kind of leveling the playing field, how often have we used the phone and then we're putting in a text and it's recommending the next word or auto-correcting, sometimes to our detriment, but it's always the anticipation of the next. That's all generative AI is. When I say that's all, but a piece of it, it anticipates the next move. So with chatbots, it will be here and everybody's better off, no one's worse off. Now, you ask the question or anticipate the question, what if I don't want to talk to a robot or I don't want to talk to AI? I want to talk to a human. Fine. So as organizations, I always recommend give the opportunity to talk to a human, which also means we'll never outlive, we'll never outuse our usefulness as humans. We're always needed. Now, back to the Gen AI or agentic AI, people are saying, well, is that going to take our jobs? Will agentic AI, because it performs the task of creating a spreadsheet, writing an email, making a phone call, will it take our job? Well, that's why I use the sewing machine analogy, because they were so afraid, I'm a seamstress, this is what I know. No, so for them, they just had to learn how to use the machine. Same thing here. Let's just learn how to use the tools in a way that is beneficial for us. Agentic AI will be analogous to everybody has a cell phone, everybody has an email address, everybody will have agents in the future as well.
Oh, that's a great, a great kind of level setting of it all, because as a teacher and as a trainer, I always try to simplify. You got to simplify things, especially if you're not working with somebody is working with somebody that's new to that technology, and you kind of just broke it down. It's not unlike certain things that we have done or already have done when we think about aspects of when we started using personal computers and we started using search engines. I always laugh. First search engine I used was Ask Jeeves, right?
Yeah.
And really that was a chat bot. That was some sort of AI engine. It was going to a knowledge base and pulling information out. And think about how even that evolved. The way that people provide tech support. People used to, if they were Windows admins and Windows support, they had, a bookcase full of Windows admin, documentation for like Windows 3.1 or Windows Server and things like that. Now, nobody carries any books around. They go right out and they do it, and they use their search engine, whether it's Google or Bing or whatever it is. To find that information. It's the same thing. I have this conversation with my wife when I talk about I'm doing AI training. She's like, "What do you know about AI? AI is new." I'm like, AI is not new. There's nothing new to it. It's evolving. It's becoming more creative. It's we have access to better learning models and like you said, the algorithms and the compute power to do a lot more things. But those all it's an evolution of where we're going and how we can do some things.
Yeah. So to your point there, right? The evolution of search engines it's always a funny story, right? In the early 1990s, we didn't know what was on the internet, and then we, obviously we have the browsers to let us know what's on the internet, and you had Yahoo, Netscape, Ask Jeeves, Alta Vista, Excite. MSN search, there was always these search engines, and then Google was called Backdrop back then in those days, And I meant to mention that to say it's always an evolution, to your point. It's always an evolution for the ability to search, accessibility. And the reason why this is important, I feel like, because as we talk about chatbots and then how to evolve, think about this. So as we just from a search engine perspective, right now, Google is being sued. It's not Google, it's Alphabet who owns Google.
Yep.
It's being sued, it's being sued because of the Sherman Act, which means you can't monopolize one technology or one product and service. The Sherman Act was actually, it was invented back in 1890. The law is 130 years old. So why are we talking about an old law for new technology? But here's the thing. The algorithm is so good, everybody defaults to Google. And what does that have to do with upscaling? Well, this evolution of AI is changing everything, because now with Google, there's always the ads, right? So the more we use AI, we can search the 42 years of the internet on AI without ads. And the reason why Alphabet is just being sued is because it's the market share of what do they own? They own Android, they own Wayco, which the driving app. They own YouTube. So where's the money share goes? That's why it's like, will TikTok go away? My estimation, TikTok's not going to go away.
Right.
TikTok has 1.5 billion users. All what people really want is access to the revenue that's available, and all of that, in my again single expectation and perspective, is if you're allowed to democratize any technology, especially AI, you should also be able to democratize your ability to make revenue. So upscaling is my connection. Upscaling is so important because it's all about moving forward and getting better.
Yeah, exactly. And you're speaking my language there as a teacher and a trainer. Is exactly that. We always get asked things of what do we need to know, what do we need to do, what's the importance in all of that. And we've hit on a lot of that, evolving, and like you said, the seamstress that we're just using a needle and thread, and then the sewing machine, automotive, going from building a single, you talk about the Industrial Revolution and the assembly line, and then even robotics going into the assembly line, being evolutionary aspects of things. And people still maintain their jobs, but people need to upskill. And it's the same thing with AI. Is more the more prepared you're going to be for the changes, whether you're in an organization that's working with AI, whether it's just in your day-to-day life, knowing how you're searching information, how you're prompting that information. Some key things around that in in AI is the prompt engineering aspect of things. How do you move them into that? So let's one of the things that kind of discuss is let's kind of take that step further and dive into some of those AI trends that you see are going to define kind of 2025. What are some of your thoughts? We already talked about AI agents. AI agents. Some of those are coming. Like I said, Salesforce has what they call Agent Force, and that Matthew McConaughey is advertising for. So those are those AI agents. What are some other ones that you're kind of seeing in just in the wild and in your industry that are kind of gonna shape things in 2025 and kind of take that generative AI to the next level?
Gotcha. It's all about customization. Everyone will have their ability to see the world and be expressive in their own way. So customization is huge. And then the next is explainable AI. Right now, AI is a black box. How do you figure those things out? Do you really want to know how the sausages are made? But the explainable AI is important. And then ethics is also important, because we talk about privacy, we talk about biases. Where are we in regards to those areas as far as ethics are concerned? Now, let me get into customization just a little bit more. Now, right now, there are like 5.5 billion internet users. There's 9 billion people on Earth, 5.5 use the internet. Okay, fine. And I'm talking developed and undeveloped countries. Out of the 5.5 billion, 63% or 3.4 billion people use social media. So you ask the question, why is social media so pervasive, really? And it's all about, if you think about it, why do we personally use social media? Self-expression, it's access to thought, it's the connection, and we get to customize two things: what we express and then what we receive. So AI will help us with the customization of information, because again, AI is built of the data, and we can, from this conversation, you can have, private data. If you like are a healthcare company or a bank, that data is private and it should be. And then you have the 42 years of the internet, of dissertations, books, movies, manuals, everything. But you have that access, but how you look at it is up to you. So some people just want to look at the Grand Canyon through a peephole, but is that really effective? But some people want a HD wide lens to see the whole Grand Canyon, right? 18 miles apart. So I use that analogy to say it's the customization of how we look at data that's going to be really hot in 2025, 2026. Think about knowledge surfacing, patterns, and content generation. The reason why so many people are so up in arms about, oh my gosh, TikTok is going away, which it's not, to me, it's too much at stake. You have bigger fish to fry, but anyway, you have an opportunity to do those things. You have an opportunity to present crazy content. You have the kids doing their thing, but from a real problem-solving generation perspective, you have that. So that's number one. When it comes to explainable AI, getting rid of the black box. Now, the parameters to create, for example, a ChatGPT inquiry, it's in the billions, and it's not just 2D, 3D, 4D, it's like a billion D, because there's so much to consider to get a simple answer. So in order to dismay the concerns there, you'll not only see this is your answer, but also this is how he came up with the rationale. That connection that's happening now is, doctors will be required to say, this is what we see on the CT scan or on an X-ray, and that's from my trained eye. That's ubiquitous. But there's going to be a requirement where, based on this AI model, it's confirmed. Because AI has such an ability to look at massive amount of data and bring to surface new information. So that's going to be required. Same thing in law, which is going to be amazing, where you're going to have litigation against laws, and then based on that, because there's just a plethora, of rules, regulations, and principles, based on this judgment, this is the precedence, according to AI, that was the right judgment. Now, the thing is with AI, it'll never be human. It'll never understand context. For example, this year, I sold a house and then I bought a house. And there's always a negotiation on both sides. I'm overvaluing my house. I'm going to undervalue the one I want to buy. So I was in this place where someone gave me an offer on my house. And I had to say, are you serious about this offer? Now, Dwayne, when I say, are you serious about this offer? I'm not accepting that offer. You're right. But with AI, if you just hear the statement, are you serious about that offer? It sounds like an inquiry. Oh, are you serious about that offer? No, I'm not serious about that offer. So I'm saying that to say inference in regards to the human connection and customization is really key. So in regards to upskilling, how do we connect the dots where we meet the need of, what's going forward? Classes are important. But understand wherever you are in any industry, and this is a very blanket statement, everybody's doing different things. Wherever you are in regards to your industry, your expertise, your craft, understand that thoroughly. Number one, understand your craft thoroughly. And then once we understand that craft, then it's your responsibility to find a tool that will enhance what you're doing. That's where your customization comes into play. As long as you're able to solve problems in a customized way, you're moving forward, where everybody's better off, no one's worse off.
Yeah, and I want to kind of come back a little bit around that customization. You triggered a point of mine around data and around how data is being used, which is a very important aspect to. I mean, and again, when I teach, I simplify things. AI is obviously a very very complex technology for the most part, but you can simplify it like any other application in terms of it's using data to gather information and to present that data in one way or another, which is, a web page does that, ultimately. And so when you're thinking about what it's gathering, but like you said, with those customizations, it's gathering these enormous amounts of information at extreme speeds to be able to present those things, like finding, like you said, legal precedents, all around the United States or around the world to make a legal judgment. The important, and so from everybody's aspect, and when we talk about upskilling and understanding AI, understanding the risks and understanding the aspects of data privacy and how that data is being accessed, and when we're building AI applications, or even asking those questions around the AI tools we're using, is what information is it accessing? And making sure that and data hygiene is a very important aspect of all of this, making sure that we've got our public information segmented from our private information in our organization. And that's something that I think is still a challenge to a lot of organizations that have started building in cloud infrastructures and things like that, in maintaining that segmentation. And that's going to be to me, that's one of the important aspects in terms of understanding and upskilling yourself for AI, is understanding how the data is being used is a very important approach. What are your thoughts on that, Wade?
I think, Joanne, I think you're spot on right there. And it's it's always clean data, bad data in, bad data out. It's still the same. So and as far as just trends, you mentioned Salesforce. They have Einstein, which is great, which gives this just one example of the many. It gives you an opportunity to use your own data that's very concise and insulated for everyone else's data, and it'll never meet. So that's really important. So when it comes to creating an environment where we're getting the right answers, because when you have models, because it's, again, the data, the model, the output, the refinement, that's where the generative AI, we're refining it to stuff that didn't exist before, and then the results and what you're going to do with the results. That's the loop of AI. It's all about where it comes from. So true there. Now, in regards to upskilling, the question is, do I need to be a data scientist? Do I need to get into analytics? And I would say just know the basics as far as what data is all about, to your point, where it comes from. And then from there, because there's just so much information, it's about your analytical skills, your problem-solving skills, your analytical thinking, creative thinking. And then from that point, in regards to upskilling, it's those who are willing to experiment with these applications and data. It's those who experiment with speed to iteration. It's like, oh yeah, that was cool, but that didn't work. So we're going to try again. So experimentation, speed to iteration, and then the willingness to reimagine everything. Reimagine your job. Reimagine, if I didn't have a spreadsheet, how would I figure this out? Do I go back to the abacus? So what are we doing? So just reimagining how things can take place. That's why I recommend metacognition, thinking about what you think about. that way it frees your mind up for the possibility, because that's what AI has done for us. It's given us an opportunity to rethink and redo things like we never have. Now, back to retooling, because really that's what our conversation is about today, is where do I start? I think about Udemy, I think about Coursera, I think about LinkedIn. Even I've taken an MIT class for AI. All it's all great. And there are a lot of courses that are just free, and that we can share. I always keep a list of free courses for people who are, interested in AI. But we are in a situation right here, in this platform, that there's a lot of great certifications in CommNet that you can run AI. I totally recommend it for sure. But my point is this: where do you start, and what should be your mindset there? I think about it this way. Like in 1997, Amazon was at 7 cents a share. 7 cents. That was, outrageous, right? And then Intel was 12 cents a share in the 80s. Apple was like 4 cents. I think Microsoft was like 6 cents a share. Netflix was at 37 cents. Now it's at 900, and yesterday it was like $936 a share. My point is this: they all started somewhere, and then they go. So just start somewhere. Because this train is moving, so run and jump on it, because it's already left the station.
Yeah. Exactly. Any type, not necessarily even certifications, just any knowledge that you can gain and understand around prompt engineering. One of the things that I would say is probably an important foundation is identifying and understanding risk to data, understanding the ethical AI use, the responsible AI use. There's lots of probably YouTube videos and things around that. Netcom Learning and AI Certs provide role-based around ethical AI and all those things around trainings that I've done for all of that. But the foundation of any AI course I ever do is talking about ethics and responsibility, because what could happen, and this is and it's just like any other application, is that if you're using something, again, it's being used by humans, it's developed and created by humans. We all have some sense of bias just from where we grew up, what our religion is, what our culture is. Any of those things are going to influence who we are. And because then those are people that then are building the AI tools that you're using, understand that there might be some level of bias there. If they don't bring in, and if you are a developer and the data scientist that is developing these applications, bring in other perspectives to avoid those biases and all those things, and maintaining privacy, maintaining your own privacy. It's similar to when you are looking at your inbox and you're about to click on that link in an email that you don't know who it came from. That's the same thing with responsible AI. Before you hit that enter on that prompt on your Copilot on your Bing search or ChatGPT, make sure that you are looking at it looking at it appropriately, making sure that you're not asking it for any information that could expose some sort of level of privacy concerns and things of that nature. It's really and learning about that. Learning about prompt engineering and responsible AI is definitely a place I always recommend everybody starts.
Absolutely, that's another one going there. So 2 areas you just touched on. As far as, I'm gonna start with prompt engineering and then go into governance. Prompt engineering, 2 years ago, we didn't even use the term, even though in the public sector. But we've been prompt engineering, for a while, because it's a matter of asking the right questions to get the better answer. But one of the things in regards to analytical thinking, the better the question, the better the answer. So understand prompt engineering, and yes, being eloquent in regards to that. But as far as what do you really want to do? What problem do you really want to solve? is the key. That's why I'm continuing to encourage people to understand your business, understand your customer, understand the nuance and foible of whatever problem statement you have. The more you understand the problem, the better you can solve it. I think about genomes in 2003, when we started to understand DNA. Just in 2003, everything changed as far as medicine is concerned. That's when it was an opportunity to customize medicine based on DNA. That's everything. So the same thing here. The better we are equipped to understanding problem statements, we move forward. So when it comes to taking classes, understanding the AI basics, data analytics, yeah, but work on your problem solving skills. Be a critical thinker. And then the reason why I mention metacognition so much, because our thoughts create choices, our choices create behaviors, our behaviors always create an action, those actions create an experience. It's experiences that create new thoughts. And when it comes to AI, because you've touched on it, when it comes to AI, most of our AI decisions are emotional. We resist it based on emotion. We lean into it because of emotion, being better off, not worse off. So those analytical things are important as we get into not just the technical skills, but the soft skills and thinking is important as well. As far as, yes.
I'm just going to jump in with a few questions here.
Okay,
They're
sure.
rolling in, so I hate to interrupt, but this is not
certainly.
actually related to what you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Let's see, what are the craziest next gen things we can expect chatbots and AI agents to do in the next 5 years?
The Google glasses, and Google's not the only they're not the only game in town, but the glasses are amazing because we have virtual reality, we have mixed reality, augmented reality. So the opportunity to put glasses in, and they're more heavier now. If you ever try them or whatever, go to a store, they're very heavy, but they'll become lighter and lighter like every other technology, where you're not able to have a conversation right here, where again, the multimodality will go away from we're using, a Zoom type effect now on a laptop. In the future, craziness. I have my glasses, you'll have your glasses, you'll be wherever you are, I'll be here in Carolina. We can just have these conversations. And the technology is here already because of, cell technology, walk around with our phone and talk to somebody in Mumbai, whatever.
Yeah,
so the same thing will just be here. That's the craziest thing for me. I'm just gonna go off the top there. So we can have time for other questions.
Sure do. I got another one coming in also about upskilling. I'm a manager in a non-technical department, and many of my team members are apprehensive about AI. What kind of AI training can I take so that I remain up to date and am not replaceable at my job? And what practical skills or AI tools should I be learning about?
Wayne, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. I mean, we hit on some of those. Like, one of the things that AI Certs has done is they've built some role-based AI training that goes through the ethics, the responsible use of AI. As we stated, learning prompt engineering, learning that analytics aspect that Wade hit on. How do we scale our questioning? And it's no different than how we've evolved in terms of using search engines again, and how we use chat bots and things like that on websites to get information that we need. But that's how we utilize that appropriately are all good starting points. Again, if you are in a specific non-technical industry and you're using certain forms of software, we brought up, just because I see the Matthew McConaughey commercial so much, I keep bringing up Salesforce. I don't work for Salesforce. I'm not I'm not being paid by Salesforce, but learning what, if there's a certain technology, whether it's Workday for your HR, or like I said, Salesforce or ServiceNow, right? Got Idris Elba doing those commercials on AI on ServiceNow, and the Rockstar commercial, the Rockstars and all that, Billy Idol and Joan Jett and all them in commercials for ServiceNow. Learning what, if those are the technologies that you're using in your business, understanding and reaching out to those companies on what training do we have around the AI agents that you're building and things of that nature are always going to be helpful and help you upskill yourself as well as your team on how to be more efficient, be more effective, and like I said, evolve. Give you take the ownership, you take the bull by the horn, so to speak, of learning that and then taking that to your management of saying, hey, look how much more efficient we can be if we use the AI capabilities of ServiceNow doing this and this. That's going to build your value to your organization rather than it being pushed on you and you not learning it ahead of time. It's just being one of the things that I say as a trainer and is the constant thirst for knowledge and just constant ways to do better. Don't hopefully what you're doing for a living is more of a career and not a job. And if it is a career, then you should be trying to make it better for yourself as well as everybody around you.
Hey, got more coming in. You guys ready to jump in with more? Here we have one from Chris. Okay, here we go. How can organizations ensure ethical AI use, especially around data privacy and bias?
One of the things that I recommend from all organizations, big and small alike, is governance. In regards to what exactly is happening in regards to your data, and then what you're going to do it, whitelisting the vendors that you're using, making sure that they are having good responsible AI practices. There's also something called the Protection Information Review Council, the PIRC, where you're analyzing all data, not just AI. And then you have legal risk and compliance, where you're saying, okay, this is a product that we're creating, internal or external. Is it in compliance with what needs to move forward? Because we're exposing not only our data, but also HIPAA data sometimes. And then you have the Enterprise Information Protection Act, where it's just that all the information that organizations have, whether you're Bank of America, Citibank, or just a mom and pop, if you're going to use AI, if you have a customer, you have data. And so those are the mechanisms that I recommend. And if you're going to invest in money, invest in those protective areas to make sure that's like just going to be just kind of willy-nilly, oh yay, we're using AI, and all of a sudden expose everyone's data. And then one of the things that I recommend big or small, mid-sized companies is always have an AI review board. If you're going to use artificial intelligence, use it as augmented intelligence that will help individuals do their job versus replace them. But make sure whatever you're doing is in alignment with your ethics and your drive, and you're protecting the customer. I can't emphasize that enough, because there's always going to be bad actors. There was bad actors when it came to fax machines. So there'll be bad actors when it comes to AI as well.
Okay, guys, I have another question coming in. Next one up in the pane is, and don't forget, people, keep those questions coming in. We have a few more minutes left to go. And next question up in the queue is, how can AI help in making more data-driven strategic decisions?
In a number of ways. When it comes to data overall, it's again about, number one, knowledge surfacing, patterns, and then content generation. When it comes to data, you have different types of data. You have structured data when it comes to spreadsheets, databases, documents. You know what to expect. You have unstructured data, which could be a stop sign, the Mona Lisa, a plan that you wrote on a sticky note, and then you scanned it. AI can consume all of that. And then you also have what's called synthetic data. And synthetic data is basically, let's say if you have this great idea. I was just talking just this week with a great entrepreneur about an amazing idea. And we're going to work together in regards to how to use AI to move it forward. But it's very proprietary and it's cutting edge. So in order to analyze what's going to be moving forward, since it hadn't existed before, synthetic data has to be, created to make sure it's just moving forward as far as a KPI perspective. So the answer there is trust and verify. When you're using a model to look at whatever data you have from a customer employee perspective, we look at it and say, okay, this is a decision we're making based on that, but don't just take it no more than you take ChatGPT, give me a list of and it does it and we say, okay, move on. No, we have a review board. It's like, okay, this makes sense based on our values, based on what we're trying to accomplish as an organization, our vision, mission, values, based on this data. Those are the things that I would recommend. There are a lot of analytical tools that you can use, like Hugging Face and TensorFlow, and I'm using those because they're obscure, that allow you to take data and have completely different business models. I mean, whoever thought that OpenAI would be a business model? That's ChatGPT. So you have an opportunity to do that, but there's a lot of tools that allow you to just think differently. So that's my recommendation in regards to using data to make sure you're making right decisions.
Great, thanks. Next question up in the queue is, where do you draw the line for the applications of new AI? Because like you said, there are applications of AI from Google Glass to research and applications of life sciences.
Ask that last part again, between new applications and...
I guess they were mentioning, you said there are applications of AI from Google Glass to research and applications of life sciences.
Mm-hmm. What's the difference where you draw the line?
Yeah, it says, where do you draw the line for the applications of new AI?
Gotcha. So there's no line anymore. It's not. AI is completely democratized. This right now, this is the most prolific redistribution of tech power in history. Full stop. You think about the way technology works. First, there's a breakthrough innovation. Then it's evaluated for, is it really useful? And then it goes into application. And then it becomes cheaper. And then after it becomes cheaper, it becomes, what you call it, unconscious competency, where everybody's using it. And it's like, how do I, go without it? So with that being said, all of the technologies, because of AI, it's going to go through that phase. So in regards to the drawing the lines, sky's the limit. It's just a matter of how you're going to use it. Everything from monitoring where's water in obscure places in the world to here's a cell that we really can't figure out, why is this person getting sick? It has that opportunity. Now, I always say this in every presentation. Well, I'm all in on as far as AI. AI will not bring about world peace, neither will it destroy the world. It's a relatively technology tool that will help us to be more productive. But in regards to the limits, there aren't any at this point, in my estimation.
You're not seeing any kind of Skynet Terminator situation in our future. It sounds like
the figure is like they said in 2030 we're gonna have singularity and Minority Report, right?
Okay, ready for the next question, guys?
Absolutely.
This person would like to know, as a senior business system analyst, I have both experience and specific knowledge of how to implement Agentforce. What should I do on my LinkedIn profile to demonstrate my competence other than to get the Salesforce AI Specialist certification, which she plans to do?
That's a good question there. Branding is key. I'll just use myself for an example. I've always been in technology. I've been in technology for 39 years now. But at this point, if you followed me in any form or fashion, there is no doubt I'm all in as far as AI in two areas. Number one, understanding the impact of AI. Number two, what's really changing when it comes to AI. And number three, the strategy to move forward. That's the only lane I play in. And the reason why is it's changing all the time. So in regards to what you want to do as far as moving forward is concerned, just be an inch wide and a mile deep as far as your space is concerned. because it's changing so much, you have a chance of, again, you can customize your offering, and then it's the niche expertise are the ones that are getting the coffer more than anything else. Don't generalize. Don't try to be a Walmart or be Neolithic in regards to I do everything. No need. Just do one thing and specialize in that, because since AI touches everything, you can just touch one thing. And like my mom used to say, you can do everything, Wade, but you can only do, one thing. You can do anything that you don't want, but you can't do everything. So you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything. So don't try to do everything. Just specialize in that one area.
And just kind of add to that a little bit too is make that one. I always tell people make that one thing that you specialize in something you're passionate about, because especially if you're looking for a position in something you're going to bring a lot more value if you're passionate about it and you have that want to continue to evolve, continue to learn, as we've been really saying over the last hour. It's that evolution, but passion for an area comes across when you're doing an interview with anybody and talking to anybody about that technology.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think we got time for one more question, guys. You ready? Here we
Ready.
go. What was a misunderstanding that you also had about AI or ML?
I can jump in, Dwayne, unless you have something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So for me, AI within itself is a science. You have robotics, RPA, machine learning, narrow AI, general AI. It has a ton of tentacles. I was under the impression when I was beginning to help customers in regards to artificial intelligence that it does one magnificent thing. And it's not like that at all. When we think about biology, we can go into plants, you can go into animals, you can go into cells. There's just a lot of tentacles in regards to science. Think of AI, this was my misunderstanding. Think of AI as a science, and then it has the branches that can go and touch any industry and any upskill and any life skill that you have. So that was my misunderstanding. The other thing too is, at one point I used to fear that I couldn't keep up and it would take away jobs. It will, it will affect, 14% or a billion jobs, that's in existence. It will affect those, but upskilling is right there for us. I want to mention this really quickly. While there are 5.5 billion people using the internet, only 4% are using ChatGPT, which means people are still learning. So my answer there is, it's a science, and then you just pick the area that you specialize in, and then use that science to make to solve problems and serve customers.
And I'm jumping in. Sorry, one more question just came in that's kind of related to this. So let's get this one wrapped up. It's they're asking, how can we start appealing to employers who are asking for AI-focused skill sets when companies are just starting the AI adoption process?
I am a ProSci change management practitioner. And within ProSci, there is something called ADKAR: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. I recommend you advocate change because it's a constant. And within that change, how everybody will be better off, no one worse off. I keep saying that because it's true. On how you can, this is our customer problem. These are our customers, first of all, and this is their problem. This is our employees. These are our challenges. And then let's work together. And as we communicate with unity. It was New York University, and they did this study, and the more they recognized, the more they automated without communication, like morale dropped like 40% because it was the fear. As long as we keep things in front of us, we're moving forward. One key point to that, from a anthropological perspective, there is a disease condition that's called marasmus. And marasmus is a condition that happens in babies when they're not hugged enough. That's legit. But they go into this space of like malnutrition, connected that to, in the penal system, the second worst punishment as far as capital, from a capital punishment perspective, is solitary confinement, which is a lack of connection. So again, babies, connection, prisoners, connection, people need it. So in regards to communication, communicate when it comes to unity, be transparent as far as what we like to happen. And then as you go into the journey, go in it together, retooling, reskilling, reimagining.
Very well said.
All right, guys, I want to thank you all for that incredibly informative talk you gave. A big thank you to Dwayne and Wade for joining us and sharing your expertise. And we do want to thank everyone who did join us here today. Once again, I'd request that you take a quick moment to participate in our short survey before leaving the webinar. It helps us understand your learning experience and improve our future sessions. And if you do come up with any additional questions, feel free to send them to webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. We do hope that you found today's event informative, and we look forward to seeing you back here with us soon. Feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our podcasts, webinars, and other courses. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
See you, Dwayne.
See ya.